Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Saeed TV. We are live for the Premier League debate show. I don't know why Lee's doing that, but we'll find out anyway. Big up to everybody who's locked in. Sorry about the lateness, but listen, as Matisse said, lateness is greatness, and we're here discussing all Premier League stuff. We've got man like Lee in the building. Lee's smiling. I don't know why he's smiling because, you know what I mean, there's issues at your club, but we'll move. But yeah, man, how you doing, bro?
Listen, man, I'm all good, man. Life's good. Life's good. You know, London, sunny, good weather. You know, when the weather's out, you know what else comes out. So we're good, man. We're happy, bro. We're happy.
Come on. Now we love that. We love that, man. We got Errol, man. Errol, chat to me. Your stadium's not completed. You're signing randomers. You know what I mean? It's peak out here.
Let me just make this abundantly clear, yeah. Liverpool might not be on shit this season. That does not give any of you the right to try and make me your punch bag. All right, let's just have that straight, because this punch bag punches back, yeah. So just talk to me, please, and we'll have some goals. All good, man. All good.
Sign Endo. We signed Casemiro. That's gonna be our new song. I mean, I know City did that, but we'll.
You know song that is. You know song that is.
Yeah, by the way, your mic's not on there, Daps, but big up to you anyway, man. Just literally, you know what? Give them dedication to Daps. It's come straight from Greece. You know what I mean? Super Cup. You know what I mean? Settings. But yeah, wow. How was the trip, Daps? Okay. I'll come back to you. Pete, how you doing, mate? Big win last weekend. Hopefully you do City over, man. That's what we want, man. We need that energy, man. But how are you, Pete?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Good start to the season. I'm sure we'll get into it in a bit. And yeah, players coming through the door, fingers crossed. Yeah, it's not bad at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. And we got Sean in the building. What are you saying with Sean? It's going to be a big weekend for you as well, mate. We're facing you this weekend. But yeah, how are you feeling anyway?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, look, I'm excited about the weekend. I'm excited about the season. Tottenham have still got a long way to go. We've got so many players we need to move on. Like, nothing seems to be happening on that end, and we can't bring more players in until we get some of them out, and nothing seems to be happening. Well, things are progressing slowly, but there's only 2 weeks left. We've got so much to do. But look, I'm blessed to be back with you guys, and looking forward to talking about football.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Listen, we only got to start with the Liverpool veteran that you've bought, man like Errol, man. Please tell me, are you on a shameless fluff? Because I've seen James Redmond, I've seen all the couple of people saying they're
I'm a
being
runner.
shameless with Endo.
No. I'm a keeper. 100 with you. I don't know who this brother is. I don't think before 8 o'clock last night any Liverpool fans knew who this brother was. Yet now he's supposed to be the saving grace and the answer to all of our problems. I'm not buying it a Ross. And you know what it is? Yeah, like I think there's a couple of ways you can look at it. If you really want to be objective to an extent, you could say if Liverpool would have made this move earlier in the window as a little bit of a kind of a stopgap to plug a hole, and we still had other targets to identify, I think it would have been more digestible for the fan base, do you know what I mean? And less banterish for everybody else's purposes as well. But after the rigmarole of last week, we don't need to go back in time and discuss that. If you know, you know. Liverpool needed to act decisively, and we needed to acquire a target of a caliber. And there's underwhelming, and then there's this man here, Kendo. Like, and again, that's no slate on him, because I'm one of them guys. Until he's fucked up, until he's done a Dejan Lovren, until he's done a Maguire, until he's absolutely shit the bed and proved that he's not worthy of wearing the shirt, I'll let man run it. Do you know what I mean? And I'll give him time to come and show what he can do. However, does that mean I'm going to hold him in high regard? Does that mean I'm gassed? Does that mean I'm ecstatic? No, I've heard people say to me last night all over, oh, he's got good stats. Yeah, but then Bundesliga tax comes straight out. When it's anybody else,
Exactly.
it's Bundesliga tax.
Facts.
I've heard other people say, well, at least we're going to sell shirts over wherever my man's from. Yeah, but I'm not asked about the shirts that get sold. I'm asked about the way he plays on the pitch. I've had people saying, yeah, but he might not be the one, and he's a utility player, so he can play different roles. And I'm thinking, all I'm hearing is bare excuses right now. And I get why we're trying to clutch. We're clutching it. We're starving, bro. That's what it is. We are starving. This is like malnourished, and now someone's dangled something in front of us. We're snap. And as I say, I'll let it run its course. I'm not going to berate the guy. I'm going to give him a chance.
How long's the contract for?
I haven't even looked at it
now.
I haven't even.
He's
30 years.
I don't know what it is, man.
I think he was older than Fabinho. So
he is older. And Fabinho's age is suspect as well, but you know what I mean? He's older than him. You know what I mean, man?
Surely no more than a couple years, man.
The only flip side to the argument is it's relatively cheap considering the market, but again, it is what it is. And the other side of things is if we have got him as a target and we're going to get him over the line, chances are, if we're being real about it, there's probably a chance that we're going to go for somebody else as well, which I think I've spoke to you, Pete, and said we need more than one. I don't think there's just any good in us just getting that one person in. So to get him in with a bit of utility, I can see the sense if we're saying, right, let's get him done. I said before I report, I said, yo, how are you going to pull a 10 to go into pull a muscle? That's literally what you're going to.
This is the levels, man.
That's the levels.
Liverpool, man.
But at the same time, you've got to give him his due. You can let him run his course, and hopefully Liverpool can now go and get their main targets in that area. Whoever we've moved on to, we need to go snap them up as well in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I'll open the floor. I'll open the floor.
Look at this though, man. Liverpool put Enzo and Caicedo together and got that is so bad, you know.
I can take that.
Do you know what? I will say though, like 2 weeks ago on this very show, I said, look, I don't feel like the owners trust Klopp with his signings. I said, I've been speaking. Listen, I'm not saying that Klopp is a crap manager, but every manager has their day, and I just don't feel like I know they've given him a new contract, but I genuinely do believe it was more convenience of more than anything. You know, I feel like there would have been a bit of uproar.
You don't think he deserved it at the time? No?
Yeah, no, listen, he does deserve it, but I said, and you can see my quote, you can see my tweets if you want to go on my Twitter and you see it. The start of last season, you played Man City in the Community Shield. The lineup you put out there, I said he's going to be the reason why you don't win what you need to win, because Klopp isn't that guy. I'm sorry to keep saying it. His talent ID isn't the greatest, Now we can go all the way back to when you originally got Mo Salah and you got Mane, and you was meant to get, I think, originally Götze and Julian Brandt. Listen, man, I'll be honest with you. I'm not putting it all on Klopp though, because yeah, I do think that some of the the leverage needs to go to the board. I will say that, but listen, what Jurgen Klopp has done is he's literally done copy and paste with what Arsene Wenger has done. His whole sort of tenure in the last couple of years, people need to stop remembering. Need to stop forgetting. You wanted to sign, by his own words, re-sign James Milner. That is what he said on Liverpool Fan TV. You wanted to keep Fabinho. You wanted to keep Henderson. So yes, you can keep mentioning all of these things, but the manager wanted to keep these people. The manager made these decisions, and ultimately, when it comes down to it, you have to give the manager a lot of the blame, because this rebuild.
I blame him for different reasons. So where I will agree with you is that the decisions are being made by him. So he wanted to keep Fabinho, as you said. He wanted to keep Henderson. He would have offered James Milner a further extension, and probably then kind of add him into his backroom staff if he would have got his wishes. However, obviously the club chose to do it differently. But when Jordan and Fab said that they were open to leaving and wanted to go to pastures new, Klopp decided to just open the doors to them and let them go. He said, go on, see you on your way. That's where I place the blame, because from my perspective, you're putting the interests of those individuals over the interests of the club and your playing staff and your playing team. And it's not to say that you couldn't let Hendo go, but I don't particularly feel there was any pressure with the Fabinho deal in particular, because Hendo, let's face it, for the right side at 8, we have options. We've got other players that can come and cover that role. Fabinho was the only specialist 6 that we've got within our squad right now, especially when he's in terms of fit ones. Patetic is young, but he's not fit right now, so it's not really fair to say he can come in and fill that gap. So for me, where Klopp's let himself down is by saying, I'm going to let you go now. Don't get it twisted. I said it the other day, those Saudi clubs will be knocking on the door right up until deadline day for all the big boys and all the big players. So why we couldn't have done a deal toward the back end of the transfer window to let Fabinho go once we had got an adequate replacement in, I'll never know. But that's something that Klopp has to address, because that was Klopp that greenlit it. So that's where I will agree with you. But again, on the incomings, this has been the season where, again, now he's taken more power and more control to actually be able to get the players over the line. And for whatever reason, Lavia chose to not join, and Klopp had a conversation with him, apparently, which is very rare. More often than not, 9 times out of 10, if Klopp picks up the phone to you and we're serious about it, most of the deals have been done as a result. Lavia seems to be the anomaly in that, so I won't say he's lost his pull, but it does seem to be a bit of an anomaly. Caicedo, the more you look into it, the more you think Liverpool have probably just been played like a fiddle on that one, if I'm being completely honest. But we fell for it, and we fell hook, line, and sinker. So again, you've got to look at that. And again, I don't really think that's necessarily Klopp then. I think maybe that's about the club and the structure of maybe in and around Klopp to make that deal and facilitate it. It's been a very difficult season. The best thing for Liverpool right now could be to just close the window and just crack on with the football. Yeah. We're going to do our talking on the pitch this season. One way or another, we're going to fall off a cliff, and it's going to become very apparent where all of our issues are and who's at fault ultimately. Or we're going to rise to the challenge, but it's going to be on the pitch where Liverpool are going to be judged. All this boardroom shit, I couldn't business with it.
Yeah, of course.
I said 2 weeks ago, I need more than a Klopp hug. I need players need more than a Klopp hub. They need to start seeing some tactics from this guy for them to believe in him. I'm not saying Liverpool lost their pool, because Liverpool are, dare I say, twice the size of Arsenal. I'm not going to be stupid enough to sit here and to be deluded like Arsenal are above Liverpool. It is not the case. But yes, being in London, it does make a difference. It does. And I will say, Arteta right now, whatever you want to say, every single player that comes out and talks about him, the same word comes up. He's a genius. He's a maverick. He thinks outside the box, etc., etc. Listen, some people have mentioned Pep in the same regards. I'm not saying they're in the same level. Some people have even mentioned Ten Hag in the same regards, talking about how, he thinks outside the box and the way that he likes to manage, etc., etc. So
he's saying that he hasn't got that juice then, as the Klopp not got that juice anymore.
I'll be honest with you, I just don't see it. I don't see it. The rock and roll football is fantastic.
Too long,
but it only gets you to a certain point. It gets you to a point, and then what? How do you reinvent yourself? He did the same thing. He did the same thing at Dortmund, and now he's done the same thing here. And at both times, he's kind of fell flat on his face. So listen, man, and again, listen, big up Giovanni. He's a genius with his own FA Cup. Yeah, you're right. But what we're talking about is it's moving forward. And I said to you, I'm hoping that Arteta's longevity over the 7 years or 8 years, whatever, how long he's going to be here, he will prove to have more, one more than what Klopp has. We'll see. We can see, innit?
I don't even think that's mathematically possible. I don't even think that. No, but let me just rebut. I don't even think that's mathematically possible. How can Arteta's in his 5th season now? I lie. Is this his 5th?
He's in his 4th season.
Okay, he's 4. So he's got 3 years to win a league, a Champions League, and then everything else that comes afterwards. So you're saying it's either going to be this year that he starts that, or it's going to be next season and he's going to do it back to back. So, and that's the equal. Bear in mind.
Let's see, man. Like, this is the gauntlets are there to be laid down and to try and catch up. Let's see.
That's a big. You put a whole heap of pressure on your gaffer, you know, because that's you're asking a lot. Like, you're asking a lot.
Yeah. No, I hear it, but this is what I'm saying. He can give it, but I don't think he can go the next step. You have to know what your manager is. Your manager's still a novice.
Yeah, I'll be honest though. I'll be honest. Yeah, he is a novice, but people keep saying the same thing, and the more I look at it, the more it's true. In Europe, who is there to really fare? And I know we're not talking about Liverpool or Arsenal right now, but
Ancelotti, Simeone, these kind of guys, you don't fare them anymore.
Bro, you get out to navigate the groups. Let's park this conversation. Let's park this conversation until I've seen you, man, do it.
Listen.
When you man ain't been in Europe for 6, 7 years, you ain't been in the Champions League. How are you lot just looking down on these managers who have been there?
No. I didn't talk about managers. I'm talking about the teams. I'm talking about the teams in Europe.
Napoli will play you off the park.
Sporting last year.
Napoli will play.
Go ahead. You're on mute, Daps. You're on mute.
Sean can take it away. He's spot on. Look, the truth is, in the 19 years that Arsenal were in the Champions League, they didn't win it, right? They got to one final and I think 1 or 2 semi-finals. Okay. Now, this is coming from a City fan. Before last season, I will be the first to admit that the fact we didn't know how to get it over the line made it more difficult than other people. So now Arsenal are back in the Champions League, right? But they're not back in as champions. They're not back in as FA Cup winners. They're not back in as Carabao Cup winners. They're in as a team that got knocked out last season by a team on penalties at home.
But you see,
Lee, I'm not talking on you. Lee, I'm not talking on you. I'm not talking on you, but the confidence of Arsenal fans, where they're like, I can't wait to play Bayern and smoke them.
I didn't say that.
No, not you. But the confidence I'm hearing from Arsenal fans about we can't wait to face these teams with heritage is mad.
No,
it's misplaced.
For sure. My point. I think what you people are just placing what I've said. My point was very simple. And listen, listen, shout out to Zayn. My point was very simple. If I look at the European pedigree right now, there aren't many teams that in quality and over the endurance over a 2-legged tie that I think that Arsenal can't beat. That's just that simple. I'm not talking about the managers. You guys are talking about managers.
Wasn't that the same last year though, mate?
Yeah. Okay, but this is my whole point.
In the Europa League.
Wait. Every season is different. You can't talk about last season because we're here this season. So what happened last season?
I'm wondering what you're basing your confidence on in Europe when last season it was exactly the same situation in Europe, and last season you got embarrassed by a team in the Europa League at home. I don't know where the shift in confidence comes from on a European story.
If you put that aside as well, you're talking about heritage teams. Let the heritage teams stay where they are with their stripes and stars. Yeah, you man are getting done by Napoli, Leipzig. Salzburg, you're getting peppered. You're getting peppered by Benfica. These teams in the Champions League, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
Let me get these super chats in. Big up Zayn Miyasi here saying Gunali is right. The players want to come for Arteta. Ten Hag is failing. Arsenal have something AF favourite for the league now. With City losing lots of players, come on, you Gunners. And O'Shea Lloyd Connor says, I'll be real. If the Arsenal team are anything like the fans, they have the rude awakening coming for them in the UEFA Champions League. He's saying that, listen, you need to humble yourself, man. You need to come in, settle yourself down, man. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't been in there for 6 years. This is new territory for you lot, man. Lee, I'm sorry, man, but it's new territory for you lot. But
that is the stupidest concept I've ever heard. I literally just don't understand that. It's so,
How is it though?
It's so stupid.
Anyway, cool, man. You've been there for a while though.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about all that.
Lee, trust me, it does, bro. That's why it took us so long. Like Lee, we were going into Lee, we were right. Lee, we were
Wait,
going
hold on.
into.
Anyway, can people rewind the tapes? Did I say that I'm going to win the Champions League?
No. But Lee,
you
I'm
want
not
to be
even
more
talking
than
about
Klopp.
winning it.
You said
I'm not even
Arteta
talking
going
about
to be
winning
more
it.
than
Lee,
Klopp in 7 years. You just said
Listen, man. Go away, man.
we were going into the
man.
Champions League as centurions, right? As retaining the Premier League multiple times and going into the Champions League after retaining the Premier League, after doing domestic trebles, and I was the first to say it, we're just not quite ready, because having that know-how in the Champions League is, for me, the teams with heritage, you have to knock them out. You have to hope to God as many of them get knocked out in the group stages as possible, because the minute them teams with heritage and know-how in the Champions League get into the group stages, it's a different gravy. And we saw it maybe not this season, but last season, Real Madrid, when everyone was saying we're not looking like the best Real Madrid, turned over City, Chelsea, and Liverpool in the second leg. Like it's. I'm not saying Arsenal won't go far, by the way. I'm just saying, and not you, that there's this super confidence from Arsenal fans about the Champions League, when it's like you talk with more confidence about the Champions League than sometimes you do about the Premier League.
Listen, I said very simply, as Carl just said, I said, I hope he does as better or as good as what Klopp does. I didn't say we're winning Champions League. I didn't say that.
Oh, but you did say that there's no team in Europe that really you're scared of, and you also said that Arteta's going to outstrip Klopp's performance, which in order for him to do that within 7 years, he's doing the Champions League.
I didn't say that he's going to outstrip him. I said I hope he does. That's what I said. I hope. That is what I said.
So it's opium and copium. That's getting you through. Hopium and copium just getting you through the thing, yeah?
Anyway,
that's how you're running your campaign. You're talking like you're the big boss, like you're the final boss of the Champions League or something.
Again, do your thing, man.
Big up the bosses in the building. He sends in a donation. Big up Saeed, Daps, and everyone. Big up to you, the boss. We got 1,000 people in the building. Make sure you guys are liking the video. I know you guys are watching and you're supporting by watching, but it also means that you need to like the video. Helps the algorithm, helps it push out to other people. I want to go back and get Pete involved as well. Pete, are you still kind of okay with that midfield for Liverpool? Do you think it's enough? Does it need one more? Is it desperate to spend 18 million on a guy who, let's be honest, man, we never had the wildest dreams that Liverpool would be signing?
Who have they got?
They got this random Endo guy from Stuttgart. I don't know if you've seen it on the news. Watoro Endo.
Busy winning a trophy, bro.
I'd say I went too busy celebrating last night. You ain't seen no news going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So officially, they've got someone, have they?
He's had a medical.
Yeah, basically, it's coming medical.
The medical was booked on this one, yeah? Officially.
Yeah. Right, okay. Yeah. This one's official, medical booked in. But Pete, what are you saying, man? Is it enough? What do you reckon?
Look, Errol knows. Like to be fair, I tipped Liverpool initially to have a really good season, and then they sold Fabinho and Henderson, and then you see what's unfolded over the last week. And look, Errol knows. I don't feel sorry for Liverpool because I've got an issue with Klopp. I'm not a fan of him at all. I don't like him.
Oh,
he chats far too much about other people's clubs for my liking, and for me, not necessarily for Errol, because I like Errol. He's a good guy and he knows his stuff. But for him as the Liverpool manager, I'm glad to see him suffering at the moment, and I hope that continues. However, is their midfield strong enough this season to be up there challenging? Nah, not for me. And I think Sunday was proof of it. There was good moments where they played some decent football, but there were moments where they looked weak. And as the season builds on, and that honeymoon period of their new signings starts to dwindle off, are you going to see that midfield kind of knit together and be strong and be dynamic and be devastating? I'm not convinced, and particularly in the big games, I'm not convinced by it. And so, yeah, I kind of revised where I see Liverpool. I think Liverpool will be fighting maybe for Champions League, but I initially had them fighting further up towards the top at the beginning of the season. I don't see it now, in my opinion. I think if you look at Man City, if you look at Man United, if you look at Arsenal, and for me, you guys may disagree. If you look at Newcastle's midfield, I'm saying that they're equally as competitive, if in some cases not better, by distance, than what Liverpool's have got to offer. And you spent a lot of money already on your midfield this summer.
Don't forget heritage though, right? Yeah, because Liverpool got heritage. It can't be because they got heritage. Just let's not forget.
You asked for that, Errol.
It doesn't matter about
What
like
number was
quality.
Heritage wear? What number shirt was Heritage wear
I'm
again?
just listen, potato. Like it doesn't matter because heritage, right? So when you go to Newcastle, you'll win because heritage.
But it's the same Heritage that stopped you from winning at Anfield when you was 2-0 up last season.
That's what I'm saying to you. So heritage, it doesn't. So Pete,
no, but I'm a liar.
It doesn't matter who you get in there because it's heritage.
It'll come back to bite you in the arse. Like real talk, it's happened time.
As I've said to you, I'm agreeing with you. Heritage.
How many of you? So just on this panel alone, how many of your teams come to Anfield last season with that?
I'm agreeing with you. So it doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. So Pete,
can anyone raise the hand for me?
Doesn't matter.
Anyone in this?
I'm not saying anything.
I'm just saying to you, Pete, all I'm saying is it doesn't matter who you've got in there because ultimately, heritage, that's it. Don't worry.
He's want to take the stand and then plead the fifth. All right, I see what you should do.
Everyone said heritage. I say I don't give a shit about heritage. We're like I say, well, our heritage for the last 60 years has been in the bin. So why would I care about heritage? We're on our way up, fingers crossed, and over the years we'll continue to build. So hopefully we're one club that knocks heritage out the window. That's what I hope, because certainly Man City did 10 years ago.
But we had to respect it, and we had to respect it, and I had to in 4K live through what heritage.
You had to knock it out the window, and that's what I
100%. But it is, but 100%. But here's the thing. It is there, right? And I know it's there. And you have to set your expectations for me and understand. And to be fair, that was the European conversation. But also to a certain extent, you could say now Man City have that Premier League heritage as far as know-how of how to get it over the line. That might be why last season ended the way it did, because we have got that know-how. We didn't have the know-how, which for me, heritage is know-how, right? And there's a lot of teams in Europe that have know-how. And it's understanding it's not just as simple as being the best team, right? I've been in the Bernabeu where we've been 1-0 up at the Bernabeu going through, and all of a sudden one goal be scored and see what happens, yeah? Because that was heritage. I witnessed heritage in not even for 8K, and it hurt. And you have to go through it to go again. So downplaying heritage for me is not, you shouldn't do it. But at the same time, Newcastle, man. Liverpool, though, we haven't seen since last week, have we? Since the first, we haven't spoke since the first group of games. So I think Liverpool looked in trouble. I'm not going to lie. I sat here watching it, and I'm one of the first people, League can vouch for this, that says never count Liverpool out, because if they get a couple of the right signings, they've got the spine, they can come back. I'll be honest, last week was the first time that I watched them and said, this ain't the same Liverpool. Like, it's not looking the same. And I think the problem you've got at the moment is, well, what it is, Saib, for me is that I think if you're a forward, you have to have confidence in your midfield and defence. If you're a midfielder, you have to have confidence in your defence and goalkeeper. If you're a defender, you have to have confidence in your goalkeeper to allow you to play the best of your game. And I feel that if Liverpool are not careful, the forwards are going to start and the midfielders will start being out of position or playing with less confidence because they're not confident in what is behind them. And even like McAllister looked good. However, he was having to do things that he should not have to do, and that's taking an element of his game away from him. The minute but
we're undercooked. We are undercooked, and I don't think any Liverpool fan will argue that on socials. We are undercooked as a team, and trying to bed in. That's why I actually quite like the Caicedo link, because I felt there was more sense in trying to just bed in Szoboszlai on his own and let Caicedo and McAllister do what they naturally did for Brighton, with a few more world-class players around them and just a bit more of a even more progressive system. But that's out the window now. Klopp's got no choice but to bed in 3 new midfielders and hope that Thiago is robust enough to get us through the winter months, to be a bit of a linchpin for us in that midfield. But like I've said it, and I'll keep saying this until we get to the point. Until I've seen Liverpool play 10 games together and that midfield play 10 games together, I am not going to die on any particular hill to say this Liverpool team is back. I'm not ready to do that. I can't commit to it.
Do you think now you've got the Endo guy in for a little bit of cover that you could go a little bit crazy and go and get Polinia despite his injury, and then allow Endo to kind of
You haven't got that money.
fill
I
the
think.
gap
I
for a
don't think
couple of
you've got that
months, and
money.
then
Well-
by Christmas time he's back, right?
This is the thing that's
He's like the last
good
class
one, yeah,
defensive
reasonable.
Yeah.
midfielder that hasn't yet found the new
Defensive
home.
midfielder.
I think the argument for that is, if we was to do that now, do we still have the money? Because a lot of people are murmuring that actually the money might not have actually been there, or it's not as much, and they might not want to spend it now. So again, it's about what, where I agree with Gunnar Lee in what he's saying about Klopp and that faith in him. Does Klopp have the faith to say, yeah, I'll put 60, 70 M's down for this guy, and will the board sanction that in the same way that he was going to sanction the Caicedo deal? So it'll be interesting. But the one thing I'm fairly confident on at this point is the fact that we've got Endo. I think there needs to be somebody in else. So I don't know who it is, but there's got to be at least another one in that midfield now for me as another option.
Two things on me really quickly. I think I've asked you this before, because you talk about another addition to that, and it's just been mentioned. I've asked you before, like, what's happened with Kefren Turan? Because he was another player that you guys were looking at.
They're linked again today.
Still linked, but again,
I'm not saying that, but I'm looking this Endo guy. I'm thinking like Kefren Turan, French international.
Better profile.
He's got a much better profile and the potential to get much better. 6'4", 21 years old. Can play in that 6, can play in an 8. Like, he's French international. Like, why?
How old's Endo?
30.
Like, that's the reason for me. That's the reason for me.
Experience.
And I get it. But I was going to say a minute ago, in hindsight, and there'll be Liverpool fans that shut me down instantly for this, but where Liverpool are right now, the fact they have got McAllister, they have got Szoboszlai, they are going to play Trent probably in the inverted role. That's legs, right? I thought, why didn't they keep Fabinho for one more year, right? Just with the know-how and the experience, just to let him do the job and have McAllister's legs around him and whatever. They've gone in for, I would say Klopp's probably gone in for a 30-year-old, because I was looking at the Lavia thing, saying it's a bit of a risk because of his age in this new look midfield. To bring in a player that's only had one season in the Premier League is a bit of a risk. Even more of a risk is to go and get a 21-year-old from a different league to come and play in the Premier League. So maybe they're looking at a 30-year-old and going, at least he's got experience to bring in and allow. It might be that. It's probably money as well, to be fair. But
second thing,
Couple of super chats.
I was going to say,
go for it.
Second thing, are you worried about these links that are coming out with regards to Mohamed Salah and Alisson and the
He was
Saudi
inevitable. He was inevitable, man. The
What
Saudi
surprised me, Errol, is that Alisson's keen on it.
yeah.
I was surprised by that, because it wasn't just that there was a link; it was that he's interested in going.
Listen, see, this is where we're gonna. I'm not gonna argue for or against it, but this is what will be very interesting, because Fabinho and Henderson were keen to go, and as soon as everyone said, as soon as a player wants out, Klopp will show you the door. Well, Alisson's keen, but I don't think that Klopp would be so willing to show him the door. So when in that sense, I think there's got to be a little bit of common sense applied. And we're getting groomed by the Saudi clubs at the minute. They know that the players. The funny thing is, and I said it the other day, I was thinking about it. The Saudi clubs are coming for top tier talent, where Liverpool are buying bargain basement, hand-me-down
release clauses.
And it's a madness. For me personally, I think the Salah link was, once it came and we started getting it, it was never going to go away. And I don't think it goes away until he inevitably joins the Saudi league. Hopefully, that's in 18 months' time or 2 seasons' time. But I think the earliest you'll see Salah go is next summer. I don't think we would let Alisson
same.
go. I don't think Alisson goes.
I think you're right.
There needs to be a succession plan for Alisson.
Next summer.
I think if we've learned anything from Fabinho, and that's not to say we have, there needs to be a succession plan for Alisson.
Do you know? I think I said this while we were away when I saw that on my phone. Look, I said a few months ago that I would not be surprised if FSG do not fully back Klopp this summer. That because I believe that Klopp is doing a bit like Wenger did and protecting the board a bit, right? Which is commendable. He's being honourable and whatever, yeah. But I could see it that if they don't back him this summer, you got to remember, I believe Ancelotti is going to Brazil next summer. right?
Yeah.
I could see Real Madrid looking and going, right? And I think if FSG do not back Klopp might next summer, his head could be turned by someone like Real Madrid. And I think
He'll
if
become all
Alisson,
your worst nightmares. Let me tell you.
listen, I rate Klopp, but here's the thing: he won't last forever, because when he does drop off and he can't rebuild, they'll get rid of him. But the thing is, I think if Liverpool let Alisson go, I think you could see Klopp turning to the board and going, yeah, you know what, I'm going end of season. This is too much for me. You're allowing all of my players to go up, but this is too much. I'm not going to protect you forever. So,
well, isn't it just a bit more simple than for me? I just feel like most managers, there's only a handful of managers in the Premier League or in history, unless you go back 50, 60 years, that have really had longevity of 10 years over the sort of period that Jurgen Klopp has been at Liverpool. I just think it comes down to staleness. At the end of the day, right, if you're asking the same players to train and play the same way week in, week out, and there isn't that new turnover of players that are coming in and seeing it and hearing it for the first time, after a while, I think Harry Redknapp used to say it. After 5 years, Redknapp was like, you get a bit repetitive. It gets a little bit stale for players. They need something new. Right? I just don't know if Klopp maybe has got a little bit repetitive.
Pete, what was I saying to you towards the back end of last season? More as important as new signings for me, the signings in the back room, who comes with Klopp, is going to be the most important for me. And you made an excellent point, bro, because that was what I was thinking. It's got stale. He needs less yes men, and new people that come in with fresh ideas that want to just shake it up a little bit, keep him on his toes a little bit more, keep him honest. And I said to me, if we do that, that's how I know we're serious. And to the best of my knowledge, I haven't really paid too much, because everything's about players. I haven't paid too much attention to the backroom staff. I don't think there has been much change in our backroom department over this summer, but it'll be interesting. I'll probably have to look at that, because I want to look into that a little bit more, because I remember saying it to Pete on the shows last year that for me, that is going to be key and a big step if he can do round 2. So
absolutely.
Great point,
big up Zemiassi. Zemiassi says here, apart from Haaland, which player is better at Saka in Europe? We play the best football apart from City. Saliba will handle Mbappe, no problem. They said, we'll see. The boss has said, that's fully on the hate train against Liverpool. We are Liverpool boys. Keep us getting mad. And then I won't read that bit.
Do you know what? I hate, it's very clear, like Said, we hate Liverpool, right? However, you'll also know that as far as putting Liverpool down and counting Liverpool out, I'm not that guy ever. Yeah, but you are right on the fact. I hate your club, and seeing your club in the mud, there is nothing better than it. I'll be completely honest with you. Said will agree with me, innit?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, man, more the merrier, man. Listen, guys, still 1.1K in the building. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Let's get to 500 likes ASAP, people. So if you're watching right now, hit the like button. We got some news earlier on. Kevin De Bruyne will have a hamstring surgery in Antwerp. I will be out of action for 3 to 4 months. Wow. Big blow, man. You know what it was? I thought it would be up till maybe October time, early October, but now 3-4 months, and you never know how he's going to return, man. Do you feel like this is the end of De Bruyne? And I mean this in a way of...
we're just saying this, you know. Sport we're just saying this as well. You know what? It's probably good. It's not good. It's never good having De Bruyne injured, but it's surgery. It's a reminder to. So it was: do we operate on it? Don't we operate on it? And I think they've probably gone with the decision. Long term, we have to. Otherwise, this could be a back and forth. Now, I don't know if you've seen the other news, but there's another player that, from a human being and not a personal side, I worry for far more than De Bruyne, and that's Reece James. Yeah, because Reece James is a young lad, right? Reece James, I believe, has now got another injury, yeah? And I've said this last season. He's very top heavy, like Micah Richards. Yeah, when you are a fullback and you're top heavy and you're having to dig in and sprint back and forth, that weight on all of your legs can be a lot. And do you know what? Reece James is so important to Chelsea. Chelsea against Liverpool last week, for me, Chilwell and Reece James were sensational, yeah? Reece James, when he is fit, for me, is the best right back in English football, when fit, yeah? But his fitness, we can't act like it's not an issue. So I'm looking at him as his age. De Bruyne's 31. It was going to happen sooner or later.
32 now.
32, there we even more so. But look, people talk about De Bruyne's creativity. It's not just that. The guy puts shifts in, yeah? So that's going to drop off. So we need to get ready for that, whether it be this season, next season, whatever. Now, if I take you back to January 2021, I think it was us, Liverpool and United that were in a title race, right? And De Bruyne got injured at the end of January. Aguero was already injured. And everyone was like, oh, we are effed, royally effed. Gundogan stepped up out of nowhere. No one would have seen it at that point because he had not had the last 3 seasons and became our top goal scorer. Stepped in, and actually when De Bruyne came back, it was like, we're playing more fluid without him. So I'm not saying we'll be fine without him. It's an issue. Last night, we missed him, right? But it happens, bro. This is football. And this is not an excuse for Manchester City. It's not an excuse for any club when they get injuries. The club has to make sure that they're ready for things like this. Like, because already it's happened with Timber, with Arsenal. It's happened with Chelsea.
Militao.
It's happening
There's
all
a lot of
over the
injuries this
place.
season.
And it's for the clubs to be ready for that. Now, we are lucky that we still have 2-3 weeks to go and get in. For me, 2 players. It is a must. We have to get 2 players because last night we missed him 100%. But this is what Pep's here for, isn't it? Work out how we're going to play without him. It will take a bit of time, but we have to find a different way. We're not going to get someone that can put in crosses like De Bruyne. It's not going to happen. It's just so we have to find another way to break teams down. But that's what we do every season. So it's what it is, man. We can't rush him back. That's the key. He will be back probably. I reckon he'll be back in training rounds early December, late December. We can't rush him back. We have to think business end of the season. If we can have him back fully fit, muscle regrown, and all of that by February, cool. Don't rush him back. That's the key. Because we rush him back, it's like Vincent Kompany all over again, and we can't have that.
Listen, man, are you listening, man? Arsenal, are you watching this? Are you taking notes? Are you
listen?
prepared to take advantage? This is your season, man.
I'll
Come
be
on,
honest
man.
with you, yeah.
Rise up.
Listen, I'll be honest. I'm more enthused by hearing that news. I'll be honest with you.
I heard you were last night as well. Still.
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna lie.
I was reading the comments on my channel and thinking, okay.
Yeah, I'm happy that he's out, man. I'm happy that he's out. Like, it just, De Bruyne has been a slayer of Arsenal over the last 7 years. Like, he scores goals all the time or gets an assist. So it's just one more cog. The fact that they've now got De Bruyne out for a couple of months. I also think the fact that they've lost the guy that backs him up in Gundogan, because he's the guy that was stepping up.
Yes,
that's the issue.
It's a double blow, isn't it?
It's the double blow. The Morris thing is massive, but it's not as big of a thing. And my other thing is, I know Foden's a good player, but I just don't trust him. I don't trust him yet. I think he's an amazing player. And listen, I'm going to say it. I think that he's actually got more quality than Saka. I think he's that good. But I just don't trust him in those big moments to continually step up and to score the big goals or get that assist. I thought yesterday he was in and out. And listen, I'm gonna put it down to the weather. People think that's easy to say.
Can I vouch for it being over there? Yeah. I was in Istanbul, where you think Turkey's hot, especially when streets in Turkey where there's 20,000 of us. The heat in Greece at the moment is mad, bro. That stadium was disgusting.
There's wildfires everywhere, man.
It's a lot. It was wild heat. But Lee's right. Foden wasn't amazing yesterday. Cole Palmer wasn't amazing yesterday.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what I want to say? I want to talk on Cole Palmer as well, because there's a lot of chat about him. I thought he was absolutely shocking yesterday.
First half, he was awful.
I thought he was horrible. Yeah,
he's a talent, though, man.
Yeah, he is a talent. He's
a talent, man.
I thought that performance it reminded me of a Mo Salah performance. He didn't play well, but he got a goal.
But Lee,
and that's where.
Do you know what it was? I was asking for him to be dragged at half time, right? And a few were saying, no, go back, watch it. Think about this, think about that, right? And it looked, the first half Cole Palmer performance looked to me like season before last Jack Grealish performance, in that he was playing out wide. He was reluctant to try and beat players. He was slowing the game down, making sure he loves cutting in and crossing or playing a bit of a wild pass. He wasn't doing either, because it seems like Pep has said, don't lose the ball. Don't lose the ball. Don't lose the ball, right? And he didn't lose the ball. And that was, to me, it looked like we can blame Cole Palmer like we blamed Jack Grealish 2 years ago. it's a player doing what the manager has asked him to do. If it wasn't, I think he would have been dragged early when Alvarez would have gone on. And it's the same I said about Grealish. Why was he never being dragged? Because Pep used to drag Leroy Sané for fun when he gave the ball away. And I think that's it. It's a building the confidence. Ultimately, everyone's saying, where will our goals come from? Cole Palmer in the Community Shield and in the game last night have scored crucial goals. So we can't have everything. But the key I would say is we've just lost Gundogan and De Bruyne and Mahrez, yeah? I hate the word transition. However, we are having to find a different way to play at the moment. We are 2 games in, right? We just won a Super Cup, right? By doing whatever it takes, yeah? It's not going to look perfect instantly, but we're still winning games. Like, we have to understand that. And people would look on the negatives with City because that's what rivals want to do. Let's talk on the positive. Kovacic has just joined the team, and yesterday he was looking very, very, very good. Like, he already gets the system. He was driving forward, but people won't want to talk on that. They will just... Grealish has looked like a player now that is not playing under pressure, but people are just looking at the negatives for City to help build your hopes.
No, but I think when you look at and that's one thing. When you look at the performance yesterday, I do think there was some glaring negatives about that performance. I think especially in the first half, I thought, the fact that Akanji came in for Stones and that inverted thing didn't work for him. I thought
it didn't work for Akanji.
Garvio, unfortunately, he didn't play well. And
he's not a left back, bro. He needs to play in the centre.
And again, so you're kind of filling plugs, you're filling positions with players that aren't there. I then looked at there you go. Then I looked at the performance of Foden in the first half, especially. I thought from the 65th minute, I thought you guys absolutely should have scored 2 or 3 goals. But also, you then come down to the point of there are just things we were missing from yesterday's performance. And again, I think when we all look at the Burnley performance, I don't think you were amazing in that performance, but it's hard to give a judgment because it's the first game. I'm not giving any judgments because I don't think it's right to do that. That's the same way I'm not going to say, crown Newcastle the Champions League winners because they won 5-1 against Aston Villa. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, man, respect Newcastle, mate.
No, for real.
If we look at the Burnley game just quickly, Haaland scored 2 goals and De Bruyne did not assist either of them. So this whole we need De Bruyne. Because I'm hearing all these things. We need De Bruyne to get the best out of Haaland. Well, his 2 goals didn't come from De Bruyne. So what we're talking about?
I will say, I do think Arsenal will win the league this season. I do think they will.
Clip it up, baby.
Oh,
I think
say that one more time for the people.
Listen, I do think that Arsenal will win the league this season, and the reasons why I will say that is because just by default, I've never ever seen a team win 4 leagues in a row. And I know we're in a different system, or we're in a different kind of era in terms of the football Premier League, but I've just never seen it. And I just think that Arsenal have it. Arsenal have that mind frame right now. I think the manager's going to hopefully push us through.
What mind frame? What mind frame?
What?
What mind frame?
Listen, man.
It's mad, how your feelings change. Like, is it because of De Bruyne injury? Is it because of what you just analysed from City?
Hold on, what mind frame? No, hold on. So, what mind frame?
And firstly, can I just say one thing?
You think City won't win the league based on our performance against Burnley? What were you banging against Forest?
Can I say one thing? I said before this injury, before the season started, I believed Arsenal were going to win the league. I don't get it.
Cool.
I don't think you had that conviction. I don't think it was. What's that?
Well, you asked me a question. I gave you an answer. I literally gave you an answer. I literally said before the season started, I believe Arsenal will win the league. So what's the issue here?
But I want more answers too, because you said your mindset's different. I'm intrigued by what you mean by that.
Listen, man, you lot are gonna, try and pick at things that aren't there. I'm gonna give my reasons, and that's it. And I'm 6'4" and I weigh 110 kg, and no one needs to answer me because I don't need to answer.
We need to rewind the tapes, man.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll rewind the tapes. I'll find out. If you did say that, then I'll give you your juice. But I don't remember it.
I said I'm 6'4". So you taking Timber's place? You taking Timber's place in your back line, kid?
Listen, man, I'm good enough. As I said, I'll be honest. I think the mind frame of the team, I think they'll be ready. I think they'll see how Man City was celebrating. I think it will hurt them, and I think really and truly, I think they'll be ready, man.
Lee, hold on. Lee, what do you mean?
Yeah.
The way Man City was celebrating. Again, what do you mean by that? Don't make these comments. What do you mean by that?
Go on,
Why are you
Dax.
celebrating?
So what do you mean? Celebrating where? In the ground afterwards? Explain.
The whole summer, you celebrated winning the league over Arsenal. What's wrong
We
with that?
celebrated doing a three-peat and a treble, mate.
Yes, you're happy to do it. I'm not
I
criticizing
don't
you.
get. So
The fact
that's going to
that-
impact us how?
No, what are you talking about, Daps? You need to listen instead of getting rattled about
No,
bullshit.
I'm not. I'm asking you what you
Listen.
mean. You're not
The
answering
fact that
directly.
you, as your fan base and your players, Jack Grealish in Ibiza, having his kit for 3-4 days, I think that will hurt the Arsenal players that were there, and I'm hoping that, and I believe that they will be very, very hurt by that, and they will want to come back with a vengeance because of that, because we bottled the league, we gave it to you, you came back and you took advantage. Fair enough, you beat us to the league, and I'm hoping and I'm believing that these players, from the manager and the players, will be riled up enough to come back with a vengeance and do what they need to do. And as I said, my big sticking point, nobody here has ever seen Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, of course not, win a league 4 times in a row. Four times.
League,
So,
that's why I asked you to answer it. You just explained it.
Yes.
Now it makes sense.
So by that default logic, I don't believe that Man City will do it again. Now, I did say that we're in a different era now, so I can possibly see it, but I just don't believe that there are that many poor teams now. I believe that there will be more teams that will take points off Arsenal and Chelsea and Man United and of course Man City. I really do. And as by a little default, I do believe that Man City are even that 5% weaker. I do. 1% weaker, they're not as good as they were last season. Even if it's 1%, that still means that they're not as good as they were last season. So, yeah, that's my.
Do you know what? Just one thing, something no one else has ever done is win a treble and a three-peat at the same time, and then go on and win the Super Cup. So, stranger things have happened, Lee. But I rate it. You've clipped it up. You said it from early this year, right? You haven't sat on the fence, so I salute it, and we'll see in May. So.
I said it before. I said it before the season started that I believe Arsenal will win the league. I don't know.
Fez.
And if I don't back my team, back my team, Saeed will. Why am I not saying it? Bro, I'm saying it here, not because I believe it, as in like it's fake. I'm just
trying to say that out peer pressure now.
No. I'm not saying it aimlessly. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying it aimlessly. I'm saying it because I truly believe that Arsenal are a very, very good team. And people don't give us the credit, and they keep talking about the Champions League. We're going to falter here. Arteta's bottled this. But he has proven some other good things. That again,
so now it's
going back to Man City. Going back to that point. Going to Daps's point, as you spoke about the Super Cup with all the negatives that people were mentioning. No one mentions the positives about Man City. No one mentions all the good things about Arsenal and how we made progression over the last couple of seasons and how we're playing better football and how Arteta makes all of these different substitutes and he's learning from his mistakes. And again, I'm hoping that he will do that again this season. It's not based off just conjecture. I'm bringing facts and
I'm sure you believe it. I'm sure you believe it. But if I'm entirely honest, if I've heard a worse justification for why Man City won't win the league, other than your two strongest arguments are it hasn't been done before, and Jack Grealish has been out shagging birds in Ibiza too much over the summer.
I didn't say that.
I actually can't believe that is the merit of your argument.
Didn't say that, but fair enough.
It's insane.
Listen, people, we're gonna see what Arsenal are about this season, man. Like I said, Havertz and Cole got people gassed, but it is what it is, people, man. Still 1.2k in the building, guys. Make sure you like the video, people. Let's get to 500 likes. We're giving you guys a good show, man. So big up to the panel and big up to the people here, man. I want to touch on Newcastle, man. They're spending money. Lewis Hall. Listen, you know what is it? A lot of people, I don't know why they took my tweet seriously. Like, I don't rate Lewis Hall. I was just fact that Chelsea are selling him for 35 million. That's a lot of money for a kid who's 18, got a lot of potential, but let's be honest, still a young player. What are you saying, Pete? Are you excited by the signing? Are you apprehensive? Lewis Hall, 35 million. What are you saying?
Very excited. I'm not going to lie. I watched him last season. He didn't start many games, but he started both at St. James's Park and I was at Stamford Bridge last game of the season and watched him there. And honestly, and to be fair, like Chelsea fans will agree with it. He was arguably their best player in both games. And people will say, obviously, Chelsea weren't good last season, blah, blah, blah. He's 18 years old. And he's took that position and made it his own. And it's only because the more established first team players have come back is why it's been pushed out. It's not because he's been bad or he's performing bad. He's actually been really good. I'm really excited about it. I am. So when the links first came about, probably about a month ago, I was hoping we'd get the deal done. Now there's obviously a lot of talk about whether we had the money to do it. Sky just announced about 20 minutes ago, maybe a little bit longer ago, that it's a loan with a view to buy. So we're loaning for the season and then pay the money next summer, which works perfectly for us. And what a lot of other people don't realise as well is that his whole family support Newcastle. So his whole family, from his granddad, his dad, his brother, who also is a footballer as well. I can't remember what team he plays for, and he's openly talked on interviews about being a Newcastle fan. It makes sense. Now, there's a lot of talk of him signing a new contract last week, 6-year deal, and then going to Palace on loan. I think a number of things have made that kind of fall apart. And Newcastle have been able to steal in and hopefully, as I said this morning, we've agreed a fee with him. I think they're just working out the structures and all the rest of it when it does happen. But it's looking like he's going to be coming to Newcastle. And the thing that I'm excited about the most, right, and you may not see it come to fruition this season, is you've got an 18-year-old guy that can play left back, and then we've got Tino Livramento, who's 20 years old at right back. And you can, in my mind, I'm thinking in the years to come, they could be the fullbacks that could really take us on. They're both attacking. They both can defend. They're both
building the future.
Develop and building for the future. Livramento came in and talked about first thing he talked about is learning off Trippier, watching Trippier and learning his game and developing his game. That when Trippier is 33, 34, the next couple of years, he's able to take the mantle on. Now, you know, if Lewis Hall comes in and learns from those fullbacks and learns the way to play, and he's working with Eddie Howe, and we know what Eddie Howe can do because he's done it with players that people thought had no right of playing Champions League football. Dan Burn, Fabian Schär, Joe Linton, all the rest of it. And now they're doing it. There's no reason why Lewis Hall can't develop and be that guy. And a lot of people are going, whoa, 18, 35 million. Well, it's actually, apparently it's 28 million rising to 30 something. But regardless of it, people are saying, oh, a lot of money. I keep saying it. If these guys perform to what we believe they're going to perform at in 1 or 2 years, they're going to be worth double. That amount's going to look like a snip. May not work. Who knows? But I am excited because Lewis Hall looks like a proper player. You know what says a lot to me is the kickoff last night of all the Chelsea fans when this deal was announced it was likely to happen, because they don't want him gone. They want Cucurella out the door as soon as possible. Some are even saying I'd rather Chilwell go and I'd rather keep Lewis Hall. They've watched him week in, week out. They watch him a lot closer than any other fan base. And the fact that they are pissed off that he's leaving the club makes me excited, because everything that I've seen of him, it kind of confirms that to me. The fact that they're annoyed about losing a potential star in the future at 18 years old and coming up to Newcastle. We've been the one that's gone the other way and lost other players. Errol, Bobby Clark, Lee Clark's son, who was obviously part of the entertainers. Yeah. He went for a nominal fee. He was meant to be the next big midfielder that came through at Newcastle. You guys got it for a nominal fee, and now he's in your first team and looking like really well. Pinch your player. Shurateri, I think, is your boy at Man United. The young lad, Saeed. I think he's been in and around your first team, plays on pre-seasons. You got him from Newcastle. He was a Wolves End boy for a while in youth ranks, but under Ashley, you guys have picked us and took your good young players and been able to develop them, and now they're approaching your first team. Now, the great thing about it is we're getting good young players from around other teams. Yeah, we might be paying a little bit more, but now we're bringing them to Newcastle and we're developing them under Eddie Howe. And I'm really, really excited about that. It's not just about buying those established players, it's about building for the future. And with Dan Ashworth in there, he knows what he's doing. He did it at Brighton. So I'm excited.
I like it. Yeah. If you're a Newcastle fan, man, you should be excited, man. Listen, we'll have to find out, you know what I mean, what they do in the Champions League, boys. But are you guys fearing Newcastle? Anyone fearing it? Henry here? Errol, Lee, are you looking at? Yeah? Errol is, yeah?
I've been saying it now. Newcastle aren't going anywhere, and that's scary for me because the balance and the order of what we, Joe, it's taken, and again, not to re-establish any dominance from Liverpool's perspective, but to re-establish ourselves as a real competitive top four season in, season inside. It took us years to re-establish that. We wrestled that away from Arsenal. How many years have Arsenal been out of the Champions League? And I would never have said that Arsenal weren't a big club even when they weren't out of it. It was just that we took their spot. Newcastle could very well do the same, and it might not be at Liverpool's expense. It might not even be at Man U's expense. It might not be at Arsenal's expense, but it will be at someone who previously considered themselves establishment. It will be at your expense, and they're not going away. This isn't a short-term thing that, they'll have 2 good fly-high seasons and then they'll all come crashing back down to earth. This is the next iteration of the Prem. Teams like Newcastle, we was doing a show the other day, Peter, and one of the comparisons when we were talking to Maz, the Brighton lad, was I'm looking at Newcastle as the city, while Brighton seem to be the Liverpool. It's a mad comparison right now, but in 2-3 years' time, maybe depending on where they relatively end up going and competing, not necessarily directly competing against each other, but you can see in the way that they're built up. Newcastle haven't just went through the till at it in the first 2 seasons where you threw money at it, but you haven't gone crazy. You aren't making the Saudi-like buys that Saudi owners in Saudi League are doing right now. Yeah. Your buys are very astute. They're very smart. There's a process. There's a system. There's scouting. It's all done in a way that it is like what City have developed into. They tell into a very well-oiled machine. And again, the Brighton aspect of things is the scouting network, the analytics, picking players before they go on to be that next level and try and bring them up. Not necessarily wanting to remain a sell to buy club, but understanding where they are in the pecking order. Liverpool had to do that for a period. We had to understand that even though we want to build a great team, we might have to sell off a couple of players to really build the spine of the team that we want. So that's where I got those comparisons from. And I just think ultimately, I don't know if Brighton are going to have the juice to keep up with what you guys are doing in terms of your trajectory. However, Newcastle's juice is unlimited right now. Yous have got ultimate refills in your Nando's. Let's have it straight. And as a result of that, yous aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And fair play. I'm not even mad at this point. I'm not mad. The only thing I expect is if I'm aware of it, all football clubs are going to be aware of it. But most importantly, the owners and the people in and around Liverpool Football Club have got to be aware of it. The business people, the football people, they need to know about it from now to be able to combat it and be prepared to be competitive and challenge, because that's all we can do at this point. And that's my 2 pence on. And again, I don't hold a begrudges for being where you are right now. I'm just very aware that someone's going to be at cost of it, and it could. My team aren't a guarantee either. We're not nailed on.
No. Same. Listen, we're in that kind of mix, so you don't know who's going to be.
No one is. Long term, no one is.
Long term, yeah.
But I'm even talking medium to short term to medium term. You've already pipped us for Champions League in one season, so that's short term. Medium term, you can build on that if the momentum, the signings all hit the ground running. So it's a very precarious landscape for the other established clan. There's no guarantees in football anymore, which makes it more competitive, which is meant to make it more fun. But equally, when you are so used to being the established order, it is very hard to take that someone is going to now come and weigh in.
The one thing I was going to say is that, like, the one thing I've loved about this summer is that, like, I'm watching you, Errol, and like we laugh and joke about it with the Casado and the Lavia and all the rest of it, and it's all like laugh and jokes and stuff. But actually, what I love about that is that whilst Chelsea and Liverpool have been fighting over that midfielder, we've just gone and got Sandro Tonali. Like, just gone and picked him. You know what I mean? Just gone and picked him out. Nobody thought he was going to leave his boyhood club. We've gone and picked him out. He may well not be the player that we expect him to be, but I tell you what, on Saturday he showed he can play. That's for sure. And I'm excited to see what he can build and develop into. And I'm looking at, there are certain players, that every player that we've kind of gone for, none of the big teams are really looking at him and thinking, yeah, I'm gonna pluck him.
You're doing your own thing. You're happy doing your own thing, bro.
Not even us as fans know who we're going to go for. Like,
but
but
it's
club know exactly who they're going to go for, and they don't listen to the noise of the links and the media. They know who they're going to go for, and they just go under the radar and go, bam, that's what I want. That's what I'm going to take.
That's the biggest.
That's what I love about it.
That's the most worrying thing, right? That all of us need to look at. And I'd say I'm the most blessed at the moment to say my club's run very similar. I'd say Lee's club is starting to be run a lot more effectively. But the biggest thing about Newcastle, I believe, because I honestly believe, by the way, the most important thing is the way the club is run, right? And they have the right people in the right, and the way everything is so planned with what is going on in Newcastle. There's nothing reactionary going on there, yeah? And that is what everyone should be worried about. Nothing is reactionary. Everything is, and, you know, on Twitter, everyone will come out and knock this they're doing, that they're doing, whatever else, yeah? But the truth is, you know it's planned, because if you go and study what Eddie Howe did, he planned his come up as well. He went and did all the legwork of working out what it takes to be good in a role, that everything about that club is planned. People say, oh, they've looked at City's training facilities and it's similar. Well, like that's what you do when you're planning. You go and look at what's effective and you replicate it and maybe make it a bit better. And I just think long term, we might not get it. We might think why they're not splashing the cash everywhere, but it's because it's planned. They're doing everything, and that should worry a lot of us.
That's a good point, you know. It really, really is, man. So let's see what they can do, man. And yeah, listen, big weekend as well. Action. Newcastle versus Man City. Quick prediction before we wrap up. Man City versus Newcastle. What you going for there, mate? Daps, I go with you.
Great game. That's what I'm going for.
Oh yeah, you don't give predictions,
Especially not games like this, bro.
Yeah, listen, I hear you. Pete, how are you feeling, man? What do you reckon of this game?
You know what? I'm inclined to agree with Daps. Like, I'll be honest, I'm excited about this game. But we're not good at Etihad. We haven't won there. God knows how. I think the last time we won was like a League Cup under Alan Pardew, like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, wow. we don't ever do well there. Even before that, we were awful. So for me, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this because we've got that win over Villa kind of off our chest. We've got the 3 points on the board. Now we can just go and really go at City and attack them. And if we lose, we're expected to lose. If we get something, though, that's going to build confidence going into the Liverpool game next week at St. James's.
Oh, we got Liverpool.
Which we've got the hardest start. Our first 5 games, hardest start of anyone in the Premier League.
United's isn't easy neither, to be fair.
I'm excited. I'm excited about this. Look, I'm going to go draw. I'm going to say I think it's going to be an entertaining draw.
The one thing I would say is, if firstly, you know, we played yesterday. I think the City lot travelled, but well, I know they travelled back this morning. They've been doing their warm down today. And they've got tomorrow, then they play again on Saturday, which does seem a bit mad, but it is what it is. If I was Newcastle, I'd be looking at Akanji and Walker on the right. And me as a City fan, I'm looking at the game last night and I'm saying against Newcastle, Walker and Akanji cannot be making the mistakes they made last night because we will get absolutely punished. So for me, I'd be hoping Diaz comes back in, Stones comes back in, Vardy moves into the middle, and Ake goes out wide left, because we can't take this Newcastle team lightly no more. No way. None of us can.
No, absolutely, man. Big up to Newcastle, man. Listen, they're serious, man. That's all I'm going to say to you people, man. But people are going to wrap up here, man. There's still 1,000 people in the building. Make sure you guys like the video. I know you guys are enjoying it, but half of you guys have still not liked the video. So that means somewhat you don't know where the like button is, or I don't know, maybe you're just not doing it. So hit the like button and support the channel. Lee, been a pleasure, man.
Shout out, man. Shout out. And listen, I'm going to say as well, Newcastle will definitely not lose that game on Saturday, for sure. I think they're going to win. But, you know, if I was to believe heritage, then, you know where we go with that.
This guy, my brother.
All right. You know, you might know what it is, but yeah.
Come on. Big up to you, man. Pete, big up to you for coming on, mate, as usual, man. The Maggies.
Yeah, we've got our preview tonight, so we're I'm going to head straight off to set up for that. So pleasure, boys. Always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to chatting next week.
Definitely, man. Big up to you. Big up to you, Dats, man, for coming in. I commend you, man. You know what I'm saying to you? You came straight into the show. Big up to you. You look tired, but that's what it's about, man.
I'm drained. But
Yeah.
I'm back up to Manchester Saturday for the Newcastle game. So look, the season's back. We've had our rest, and now it's back to a lot of travel, and that's just how it is, isn't it? So yeah, man. Love having me on. It's good to chat to you all, and never a foul. You know where to find me always.
There you go, man. And also, lastly but not least, big up to you, Errol, man. Thanks for jumping on.
No, it's a pleasure, boys. Always good to chop it up with everyone. So yeah, big up the chat as well, and obviously do the thing, like the button. You know where it is.
Yep, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Make sure you like the video, people. I'll be back at 11 o'clock, people. I've got a show with the American lads. You know how they go, man. They're in about 5 o'clock in the evening for them. So we'll be chatting to the United American fans, see what they're saying, man. There's always something wild down there happening. But people, make sure you check out Loaded Mag for the preview. And yeah, man, I'll see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.